Welcome to the show, Hank. This week we have a special guest with us, Mr. Scott Herriott, runner of SquatchFilms.com.
Yeah. And I am special.
Yes.
I assume not every week you have a special guest. You have guests, but
we have guests. We've never had a special guest yet.
Right. Okay, just want to be clear on that.
I would say of the Bigfoot show, but after the announcement the other day, that's kind of disappointing, but there is the archive.
There is the archive, and if any, we just to clarify on what Craig said is, God, I think we've been doing it about 7 years, and Brian Brown, who was really the one who started the whole thing, he had called me and wanted to know if I wanted to be part of it, and every week he'd be the one doing all the technical stuff, largely to get it done, and I don't know, it's just been a while. We've kind of been spinning our wheels, there's not a lot of new information with Sasquatch until we actually find a friggin' body.
Right.
It basically would just devolve into old Patterson-Gimlin film arguments, or kill or no kill, or him ranting about Melba Ketchum. But it was a good run, and who knows, maybe one day we'll come back and do sporadic shows. I don't know, but for now it looks like it's over.
Yeah. Disappointing. That was always something I looked forward to, but
good.
We'll see.
Yeah, it was a fun show to do. Like I said, Brian was great. We just had a good, all of us, Paul and Sam and Brian and myself, just had a pretty good camaraderie and chemistry doing a podcast. So, but yeah, Sam's I think he has 12 kids now.
Oh.
He's working at Starbucks. That's not a good combination for free time.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens. But it was fun doing it while it lasted.
Right. But you do have a new project, and yours is, congratulations on that as well. I saw it pass the goal today.
It did. I'm going to Iceland. For those who have never heard of me, and that would be the vast majority of people in the world, I've been making these films primarily on long distance hiking. I did 4 on the Pacific Crest Trail, 3 on the Appalachian Trail, 1 on the Camino de Santiago in Spain. So this year I wanted to go to Iceland because I heard so many great things about it. And so I started another Kickstarter thing. This was my 5th, and it just passed it a few days ago. But let me just tell you this, Craig and Dennis and anyone listening. How many? You have at least, 5 listeners? 8? 10,000?
We have one that we can confirm has actually listened.
It's actually me, Scott. When I'm done, I listen to it again to make sure. Yes, it has passed it, but per Kickstarter's rules, it has to stay up the entire month. Now it's been up 18 days. It reached that goal, but if somebody flips out, suddenly looks into my past and says, "Why am I giving money to this jackass?" Then it would go under, and as I think most of you know, Kickstarter is an all or nothing scenario where if you ask for, I was asking for $5,500, and if it was $5,450, none of the money would come my way. So I'm encouraging your listeners to just go to Kickstarter or go to SquatchFilms.com. On the front page is a link to the Kickstarter thing, and I ramble on much like I am now for 2 minutes talking about what the project is, which is essentially hiking and biking around Iceland. There's a road called the Ring Road that is 850 miles. So I want to bicycle that in a month, and then I want to walk across Iceland from the northeast corner down to the southwest. And I'll probably die, but damn it, I'll have fun doing it. So that's it. Yeah. So check out the rewards. It's not again, Kickstarter isn't this straight ahead charity thing. I mean, if you for example, if you gave me $25, you get your name on the website. Wow, that's if you give me $1. If you gave me at least $15, you'd get the exclusive updates and photos that I put on there that the Facebook and Twitter folks don't get as in depth of, and you'd get a finished download of the film. So, or a download of the finished film. One of those two things you would get, and then it goes up all the way up to a $500 tier and all that. So I encourage your listeners to check it out, and if they haven't already turned off this podcast already.
We have listeners. No one wants to contact us. This is the problem. We've asked and asked for feedback. One guy.
One guy.
His name's
That's
Hank.
why I always say hi to Hank.
And he's a great listener.
Wow. Hi, Hank.
See,
he gets more one-on-one
almost
deal
every
with
person.
us.
Have you noticed, Craig? Every time we have somebody on, they always say hi to Hank too. Hank's got to feel
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
And again, Hank is not the gnome sitting behind you.
Right.
Oh, it's Steve.
Steve. Oh, Steve. That's a
Steve
great
the
show.
gnome. I stole him. Well, I take that back. I didn't steal him. I
Borrowed.
gained him 25 years ago, and he's been with me ever since.
Nice. So, is he ceramic?
No, he's plastic.
Oh, yeah.
He's plastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I happened to find him, and he had a fishing line in his hand, and it oddly smelled of fish, so I got rid of the fish. But he doesn't smell like fish now. It was just the fish itself. It was kind of creepy.
Oh.
So away it went. So you've hiked a lot of different places. Of the
Yeah.
places you've hiked, where have you went? Why did I do this? Or like more of the, I might die in this position. Why did I think this is a good idea?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, last year when I just released the film I shot last year called Flip Flop Flipped. I did, like I mentioned, this is the third and final Appalachian Trail film I did. The first one was Flip Flop Flippin', where I attempted to do a through hike, but I got hurt and I ran out of time. Money was weak, so I just did half. And then I came back the next year to finish it, do the other half, like 1,000 miles, and I got chronic bronchitis. Had to go to the hospital 3 or 4 times. So I came back the third time, and even though I got a friggin' hernia, I don't know how, but I got a hernia on the hike. Had to take almost a month off to rest, but I got back on. And I'll tell you, Maine, to answer your question, Maine and parts of New Hampshire in the White Mountains there, super beautiful, super wild, super tough hiking. I mean, it's just, a lot of it's just like boulders. You're scrambling over boulders. You're sliding down rock faces. There isn't tons in Maine of like you just walking. It's like kind of up and down. And so if you're looking for a challenge, that's the place to go. But like I said, it's really beautiful. And the people are awesome in Maine. Seriously, it is gone. I think my home state of California is still my favorite state, but Maine is really a close second. Great people.
So what made you get into hiking? Was it just like, hell, I like being outside, so I'm going to take a really long walk?
It was part of my parole program, Dennis. And no, I did. No, I always liked the outdoors since I was a kid. Fished a lot with my dad. And you know what got into the hiking? Really the transition, or one of the transition things, was before I made my first long distance film. That was in 03. That's Walk, available at squatchfilms.com. As a download, by the way, and a DVD. And the newer ones also Blu-ray and download, all that. Anyway, so before I made that, and as we alluded to earlier, I've always been fascinated by the whole Bigfoot phenomenon. So I made this movie in 2002 called Squatching, and made it, and it's available at squatchfilms.com. And the following year, I was like, what am I going to do now? And so I was driving around in Southern California, and I saw this sign for the PCT. I passed it out in the desert near the Antelope Valley. And I just started thinking, I wonder how many, those would be people to talk to who do these remote trails in the remote forested areas. Maybe they would have. So I didn't want to do something specifically Bigfoot, but kind of related to it. So I went to the kickoff shindig, of which they just had last weekend this year. It's called ADZA-PACITCO, Annual Day Zero Pacific Crest Trail Kickoff. And I thought I'd shoot for the weekend, then I would decide whether or not to do the film. Well, I was literally there like 20 minutes. And I'm like, these people are so cool. Adventurous, funny, smart. And I just did that film. I drove all up and down the PCT that summer and interviewed a bunch of people. And I only hiked a little bit. I wasn't going to hike at all. But then I got into it. And then I made another film, Still Walking, where I hiked like 150 more miles. And then I did a third film where I hiked 720 miles on that one. And then in the final one, I hiked over 1,500 miles. And so I completed the PCT section hiking it and making the 4 films. So, yeah, it's I like it. The people are great. That's the number one thing. It's great exercise because I'm 81. I mean, I know I look good for my age, but
Well,
you have to get out there and breathe some of that piney air.
Yeah.
Since you I was always fascinated by this because I've had friends who've talked about hiking out like the Appalachian Trail and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just in my head I'm like, minimalist idea you have to have, because you're like, okay, everything I have to have has to fit on me. I can't I can't have a pack train and some mules or a strip come
Oh,
along
sure
with
you can. It's a minor fine.
Right. So, I mean, how do you set up for something like that? Well, you're going to be going, okay, so like what the Appalachian Trail is, was it?
It's 2,181 miles.
I knew it was like around the 2,000 mark. So yeah. So I mean, it's not like you can just, oh, well, I'm 1,000 miles in and I totally forgot something back at the camp. I'll go back and get it. I mean, so you have to kind of be ready for like every little situation.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you say that, because there's always a healthy percentage, especially on the Appalachian Trail, because it's such a popular trail and it's so close to populated areas. I mean, as I mentioned, it's a really hard trail. It's tough, but it's ironically so close to civilization too. I think people kind of think, well, if it's so close, it can't be. It's rocky, it's rooty, a lot of straight up hills, and there's always these load of people who start each year with like literally. Like they're taking a Coleman stove and they have it's in the box and they've got it strapped to the top.
Wow. And
then the reason is usually within the first 20 miles, this is not joking, each year people will find things and people screw this, and they just dump it and they leave it there. So, and you got the guys who are like really overweight who are, and I think it's a great thing, by the way, guys who go out and are like, this is going to be my diet hike. A lot of people, I think, do that. And some people make it the whole way and they do lose a buttload of weight. I mean, literally, I think the most, in my second AT film, Flip Flop Flippin' 2, creatively enough titled, I ran into 3 guys, all who had lost more than 100 pounds.
I've actually never heard of the whole diet hiking thing. That's like...
Yeah, I mean, that's not really a term used, but I mean, I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people who do these trails, and you run into those men and women who are out there doing that. And it's just great exercise. I think walking, next to probably swimming is probably the best exercise you can do. It's, and yeah, like you were talking about getting prepared, you just have to, it's fun too. That's a big part of the journey is actually that you spend. If you decide to do this and you've got, let's say, 3 months before it starts, it's really fun getting online, getting the Facebook pages, the discussion groups, what's the type of gear to get, what books to buy. I'm kind of in that phase now with Iceland. I'm really kind of jazzed checking stuff out, finding out that trolls are actually real. I didn't know that. So yeah, I encourage it, dude. I mean, even if you don't want to do the whole thing, do a section. Say, look, a lot of people do that. Some guys do like 100 miles a year, and they're on the 20-year plan.
Oh, okay.
So it's whatever fits your schedule, fits your your personality. I would say this, even though I attempted that through hike in 2011 and got hurt, I really think I have more the soul of a section hiker. It just doesn't really jazz me. It's like, I'm going to spend 5 months going in this direction, that all the same direction. That's why I like hence the titles of the film. I like to flip and flop. I'll go a little north, and I'll hop up the trail, and then I'll go south. That way I can interview people again who have already interviewed like a month later. You see the beards have gotten bigger, and that's just the women.
Is this on?
Yeah, is this, kids? Hello, why are you leaving for the exit? Ma'am, sit down. Your 2 drink minimum's not complete. So yeah, it's been great. I can't recommend it enough. Anybody's thinking about doing it, doesn't cost super much. I mean, you can do, if you wanted to do a through hike on the PCT or the CDT, you could probably, the whole thing, total cost, food, your gear, you could do it between $4,000 and $5,000, and you make probably some of the best friends you'll ever make in your life out there, because you're all on this journey together. It's awesome.
You said something along the lines of when you were saying earlier, reading. Like, so each has its own set of books. Like, okay, this is really what's going to happen if you go on this trail, or you have these set of books that you got to read before you go on this trail. Is that how? Because again, I'm a novice at any of this. I mean, my biggest hike is maybe doing a lap around my subdivision, and that's about it.
Right.
So,
well, that's a start. That's a start, Dennis. That's good. Start small, build. Like for example, in the PCT. Which of those 2 trails, by the way, if you were going to just say, I'm going to do one of these trails in my life, I would probably do that one. It's a little easier than the AT, meaning physically, it doesn't have as much up and down. Like AT's brutal. The elevation gain a lot. Even though you don't have the high mountains like the Sierra out on the PCT, when they built that trail, apparently the term switchback had not occurred into the English language yet. They just would go, screw this, we're going right over the top, Jedediah. We're building this for men, not pussies. Just right over the, and it's just, again, the roots, the rocks, it's largely pretty hard. And then if you're going northbound, it just gets harder. So you've gone all this way, and then you get to New Hampshire and the Whites, and then you get Maine. And it's just like you're getting beaten up, and then the guy you're fighting just gets an extra burst of energy. And you're like, geez, Louise, dude, take it easy on me, will you? But great social dimension to the AT. However, I would say the PCT would be my choice because it has a blend of everything. Not as many people, although it is getting more popular, especially with the movie Wild that came out a while ago. Better views, more consistent views, and again, easier tread, and more variety. It's 500 miles longer, but it takes about the same amount of time to do that as the AT because it's somewhat easier. Am I yapping too much?
No, not at all.
Shut me up.
So for like beginners, is it more like, okay, so you just take out, like, get your information, do about 100 miles, and then just there would be a good place to start, or 20 miles, or like depending on
again, like anything, read up as much as you can. I'm a big advocate of going as light as possible. I mean, you get a lot. It's a typical thing. It's a rare novice who doesn't always pack a little heavy, because you know what happens. You got like your 2 months or 3 months to prepare to going, oh, I bring this little thing, and well, you should bring that thing, but you know what I mean. Ooh, then I'll bring this, and I'll bring, all those things start adding up, ounces, and next thing you know, you got a 50-pound pack. And they've got ultralight packs now. Like my pack empty weighs just over a pound. It's made of really cool Gossamer Gear, great company, little plug for them. And there's fanatics in that realm too. This guy named Lint, he was in my last film I just did on the AT. Great guy, crazy, funny dude. He's an ultralight fanatic. I mean, he cuts the end of his toothbrush off, drills holes in his metal where to cut the weight down. Mm-hmm. He uses a garbage bag instead of a quote unquote official cover. And the guy, it adds up to him, he can easily just do 30 miles. Just go walking, so.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's fun. And there are plenty of resources. The PCTA.org, Pacific Crest Trail Association, and the Appalachian Trail Conservancy are all good places to start off. And then, of course, there's Google. Google to your heart's content, man. You will get so many opinions about what the best pack is and all that. And go light, go as light as you can, but at the same time keeping in mind durability of your equipment. Some companies are so light that that stuff will wear out kind of quick, but everybody will find their balance, I think.
Yeah.
So do you hike like every year, every couple of years? Do you try to like get out every like 6 months, even if it's not a long hike, like 20 miles, 30 miles? You'd like, I'll grab some stuff, go out for a weekend. You know what? That's a great question. I'm not one of those people. To answer your first question, yes, I like to do. I've been doing a project a year, God, for almost 12 years. And let's see, 03 I barely hiked, right? 04 I did a roadside attraction film called This Exit Only, which is, I got to get back up on Amazon. I have like one copy left of my DVD, and I've got to rip that, get the MP4 off of that. Anyway, then I came and did 150 in 06, 720 in 720 in 06, and then like 1500 in 07 and 08, or 1600. Then I took a year off, did these little side trails things. 10, I did nothing. I did this part of this world record attempt to climb the highest mountains in the U.S., and we failed miserably on that. And then 11, I started the thru hike. I hiked 1,000 miles in 2011. Then I did 550 the next year. Then I did 550 last year. Oh, and then I did the Camino, which was like 520. So it usually, it probably based the last
7-8 years, I've averaged maybe 600 miles, something like that, a year. And yeah, and I'm glad I have, because I just feel it, keeps my weight down. I know it's good for me. I meet great people. And, that's really the emphasis of my films, by the way. Craig, are we keeping you up, by the way? Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, good.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
I feel like Craig's, I don't know, hogging the conversation here. I emphasize the people I meet and their stories and their motivations. And, like, my hike is kind of the secondary story. So it's just kind of, a little like your guys' show. I really like having a bit of that randomness. Just here and trying to keep it as real and not, formalized like a TV show. I hate that, like, really dramatic. We're going to come back and finding Bigfoot and nothing happens. But we're going to make you believe something might happen. Really hate that shit. So, plus I don't have commercials because it's a film. But anyway, just kind of, because I am a true believer that if you do something, most things in life, if you tape and you get enough tape, you could have enough stuff to make an interesting movie. Depending how you cut it, but remaining true to kind of the flow of everything that happened.
I was just, because like I said, I'm fascinated, because I had one friend, and this was years ago. She really wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail, and she got all the books, got all the stuff. I was fascinated by it because I was just going through it. I'm like, I just don't. Me personally, I'm an urbanite.
Yeah.
I can't help myself. This is who I am. I'm like, I don't see myself just packing all my shit on my shoulders and going, wish me luck, and then hoping to God I don't die somewhere on a trail where no one will ever find me.
Well, if it was the Appalachian Trail, somebody would find you probably within an hour. I mean, there's a lot of people, but I think it's like anything else in life. If it doesn't strike your fancy, it doesn't. That's cool. I mean,
I don't mind walking. I don't mind hiking. I'll take my wife and I will go out to the parks around here and we'll go through the trails and stuff. But not like, hey, let's take a month out of our life. I've never done it. Though even it fascinates me to go, okay, somehow I've taken a month to 3 months of my life and fit it into a 3x2 package, and that's it. That's all I got, and nothing else. And I can do this. It just fascinates me that someone that's so minimalistic. It's just amazing to me.
Yeah, and it's you talk to almost everybody who has done, like you said, let's say, I would say at least 2 months. A month you're going to get a pretty good taste, but 2 months, I'm not a believer. You get some people who are like, it's a total different reality out there, man. No, there's a lot of the same basic things just like anywhere else. But the cool thing is you really seem to get to know, I have found, and others have echoed this, that you get to know people out there better because you have the time, because all you're doing is walking, eating, crapping, sleeping, and all that other time is just like, hey, see this dude or gal, and then they're going ahead to get by. You end up in a group, and you really bond with these people, and you go into towns, you hitchhike into towns. A lot of the towns along the trails are really supportive of hikers, and then there's trail magic, which is a great phenomenon. But never expect trail magic. Never think it's going to happen, because then you'll ruin it. But it's just got the amount of people who've a lot of the times it's previous hikers who had such a great time and they want to stay connected to the trail, so they'll intercept hikers at road crossings and have a thing full of beer or pizza or fruit, and they had no idea it would be there. That's getting more and more popular because the trails are getting more and more popular. So there are those old timers who think that there's this feeling of, well, it's owed to me because that's where you kill yourself. You just have to assume nothing will happen, and so when it does, if it does, it's pretty cool. And the strippers. Did I mention the strippers?
Fantastic.
Yeah, see, now you're interested.
You pass one tree on the right, and then you make a left there. That's where the stripper will be.
And Trixie will be behind the third pine, dancing continually, 9 to 9.
So something you said also caught my attention. Do they all start? Because you talk about this start of. So is it once a year? Does everyone kind of get together and just? I won't say pack, but group. They all get together and say, hey, how you doing? And then everyone just takes off down the trail? Or is it dispersed throughout? I know, like, winter would not be a good time to go down the Appalachian Trail. I get it. But, is it like there's a certain time of year where everyone gets together and goes? Or is it kind of interspersed? You know what I don't know.
That's a great question. Dennis is chock full of great questions. Not as good as Craig's. Craig's have been very insightful. I'm sorry, man. I'm bagging on you.
I have watched the videos, so I kind of know half the stuff he's asking.
Okay. The PCT, like I mentioned, is a bit. It's not an easy trail by any means to do the whole thing, but it's easier physically. But it has a narrower window of time when most people start, and that usually is in late April. That's right around now. That's where we had the kickoff last week. And the reason for that is if you leave too early, generally, although this is an exceptional year because of the drought out here, if you get there too early, you got a boatload of snow in the Sierra. If you leave too late, then you're going to get to Washington in late September and October when the snows and the heavy rains start. So you got mostly it's like about a 3-week window most people start to do their through hike. Now, it has become a concern for some, and rightfully so, about you don't want everybody bunched starting together. That's affectionately referred to as the herd. So the kickoff, what a lot of people did, especially this year, a lot of people started early because of the low snow conditions. Like the Sierra has only 15% of normal. It's friggin' dry, and the odds are good they're going to encounter a lot of fires this year, especially up in Oregon, Northern California. So people have already started, and then they'll get rides back to the kickoff. So they could be almost 200 miles north of the kickoff, which is only 20 miles from the Mexican border where it starts. And they get rides back, and there's a big ride board, and it's great. So I think the community has responded well to lessening the impact of the numbers on the trail. And then again, you throw in the whole wild thing, like the permits just skyrocketed the last 2 years, mostly due to the movie and book Wild, like over 1,800 permits. And when I did 10 years ago, there was like 300 people doing it. So that's like 600% increase, I believe. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. It is a great trail. It's got, like I said, it's probably easily one of, if not the most geologically diverse long trails in the entire world. I mean, you get almost everything: desert, high granite mountains, the Sierra. You're hiking. You go over a 13,000 foot pass, man. It's friggin' awesome up there. Really recommend you do that at least once in your life. Get to the High Sierra. Do the John Muir Trail. It's only 200 miles. Kick your ass probably if you're not in shape, but it's so friggin' beautiful. Then you got thick forest. You got chaparral. You got volcanoes. You got lava fields. The whole thing. Then back to deep forest up in Washington. So diversity, that's the way to go. If you want humidity and more flora and fauna per mile, the AT is better. You see a lot more bugs and cool flowers and great trail to shoot video on. It was really because you get all that muted light. It's not like a real the PCT. You're out in the sun a lot, but the AT is great. So I hate to do apples and oranges, but it's probably the PCT. It's closest to my heart because that's where I started these projects, and yeah.
All right. So are all the so you said the trails are fairly well marked when you're going them? Is there like markers along the way so you don't go like wandering off aimlessly, going, "Oh shit, I'm completely lost"?
Well, like the AT is really well marked, but you can. I know I probably got lost 4 or 5 times in the whole trail. You just like you're just not paying attention, and there'll be old treads that go off, and all of a sudden you haven't seen a white blaze in a while. That's the ATs is a white rectangle. PCT is well marked as well, not as consistently well marked as the AT because there simply aren't as many trees. I mean, there's so many trees in the eastern half of the U.S. I mean, it always is amazing to me because I'm a West Coast guy. When I've gone out there, you just always amaze all the vegetation that's there. So, and then you have the third jewel of the Triple Crown of long distance hiking, the Continental Divide Trail, which that's the super badass trail. I mean, you're just walking, you're like, you look at your GPS and you go, I got to get to that butte, That's like 3 miles away, and you just walk across country, coupled with trails. So they're trying to get to the point where it's all have a trail, but it's not completely finished. So there's many ways to do the Continental Divide Trail. Like it can be anywhere between something like 2,500 to 3,100 miles long. So there's a lot of variety out there to choose from if you're looking to get out and explore nature for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. I still got more questions because I'm fascinated.
Sure.
So as you're hiking, as night comes along, are there like defined camping areas to come into, or do you just kind of pull off the side and go, okay, we got a clearing here. We'll just go make sure don't fuck around, make sure you got rocks and everything. But I'm just saying, you know, instead of or do you and go, oh look, hey Steve, how you doing? And you're over there, and we're over here, and how's things? And
yeah, you got like there's a like on the AT, for example, there's this great guidebook. It's called the AT Guide, and it's done by this guy named AWOL. Great book. It's like easily the best book, and so he's got it. You know, he gets an elevation gain and loss, where campsites are. They mostly recommend that you do camp in kind of established sites, but sometimes, you know, they'll be filled, so you can find a little. It's called stealth camping. I like to do that occasionally. We just kind of see a flat place. Maybe it's like 100 yards off the trail, go through the trees and stay out there and bury your poop. Remember that. Bury your toilet paper, or better yet, take it out. Put it on your cornflakes. That'll prove you're a man. You do that. So yeah, there's kind of, and on the AT there are actually shelters. I think it's like every 8 miles on average. So, you know, people stop for lunch. People will stop to eat there. I wasn't a big fan of sleeping in shelters because you get mice and a certain amount of them. It's hard wood as opposed to the dirt where you got your tent, and the always ever-present snoring on, you know, the older guys who are a little overweight. You always see him. You can see him coming. It's like this. The guy's like 280. And he's about 60, and you just know. And then if you throw in a couple bottles of beer, then it's over. Nobody will be sleeping that night. So you have to kill those people and bury them. There's a place right out behind the shelter where they encourage that.
yeah, kind of like right around the area you poop. I get it.
Yeah. So there's plenty of places. Sometimes, you know, you'll get, if it gets dark and you're super beat, and the odds are you're going to get up early. And people will sometimes camp right on the trail. That's not really encouraged. You got to remember, too, that wildlife uses the trail as kind of a corridor. So especially if you're in an area with bears, you know, you've increased your chances of a bear encounter if you sleep on a trail in a wooded area. So that's always fun.
Yeah.
That is something I did not think of.
Yeah.
I'm safe here. Whoa! Ah!
What the hell?
Damn it, woman! Why are you so close? Wait a minute, you're not that hairy. Yeah. It just sounds so fascinating. Just to me, the idea that like you decide that anyone, and like you said, you not only have you done it in the U.S., you've done it in another couple other places outside of the U.S. To go. Yeah. I'm just going to take the time. I'm going to go check this out. I'm going to travel this distance and walk and just be, I guess would be a good term.
Yeah, you just, like I said, it's just kind of a simplifying. And I, you know, even though I've gotten more into the hiking since I first started, I would still consider myself still primarily a filmmaker who hikes as opposed to someone who is completely, because I'm not, I mean, the only thing I've really through hiked on the whole thing is the Camino, and that's like a super piece of cake compared to the AT. It's not a complete piece of cake. It has its tough little parts, but yeah, it's just been great, man. And then this one this year, the Iceland adventure, is going to be a little different because this will be probably easily the least amount of people. I usually have a lot of different people in my film, so I'm starting out alone on the bike. I mean, I'll run into people in towns. I don't, you know, maybe at the camp. They have a lot of good campsites along the ring road. And it's supposed to be very friendly people over there. I hear the ladies aren't too bad either. Heard some good stuff, but anyway. And then a friend of mine, Wing It, who she is a triple crowner. She has done the PCT, she has done the AT and the CDT. She's coming out when I do the hike across. So I'm glad she's coming out for that, because I'm sure I'll be crying several times asking about what the hell am I doing, because it's pretty desolate. There's like a 9-day stretch approximately where you can't resupply. You have to bring 9 days of food with you.
Wow.
But there's no big animals to fear in Iceland. It's the wind and the weather can get nasty there. Although this is generally the better time of year. I'm just looking forward to seeing it, because I've never talked to anybody who's been there who said, yeah, it's okay. It's, everybody's just like, you got to go. Really raving about it.
Wow. So with the bike ride, do you usually have like a window of time you're hoping to make everything done in? Like,
yes.
Bike, like, I hope maybe I can get about 20, 30 miles a day in no biking. Do you have everything kind of planned out like in that kind of like?
Yeah. So, this is actually funny you should ask, Dennis. That's a good question. They're chock full of good job, Craig. This guy's a good part. He's a born interviewer / interrogator. He's very good.
I'm not gonna lie. This is a rarity.
I would like to. That means you're fascinated with the topic, and you're going to rush to Squatchville. Oh, by the way, I want to put a thank you to Craig. Speaking of my new project, Craig is and this pencil's very effective to me making this point. Craig is actually a backer of the new project. Thank you, Craig.
No problem.
You'll be getting your autographed DVD or Blu-ray, MP4 download, exclusive updates, and your name on the website. And only for, that's right, $50. I know it sounds like a lot, but I am a special guest.
Yep.
Well, Craig was raving about you for about a couple of weeks now. We were at a convention last week, and we were just talking about all the stuff you've been doing. So I've been really fascinated about the hiking stuff, because it amazes me that someone's willing to go, okay, I'm gonna pack my crap up, I'm out later. And so I was really fascinated to get you in here to talk about it.
Oh, thanks. Well, a really cool thing with, wait a minute, was I answering another question there and I didn't finish? Something about the mileage. Yeah, I was going to say, you asked about the mileage, and I was going to say, yes, the ring road is about 830 miles total. And I would like to do that, allow a month. So it works out to something like me biking 27 miles a day, which from what I'm hearing and relative difficulty of the ring road, not too bad. I think it could be like if I'm actually pedaling 3 hours a day, I think it's definitely doable. That gives me time to stop, get video, still shots, meet people, eat, look for trolls, things like that. And then I'm allowing, although I don't think I'm going to need it, but it's nice to have the buffer time, roughly a month to walk across Iceland. The total time I'm there, I do have I get there very soon, actually, less than 3 weeks on May 19th. And then fly back July 31st, so it's 10 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I'm hopeful that'll be enough time to get enough footage. I figure I need to shoot at least 35 hours of footage to get a roughly 80-minute film. That's kind of the lengths I like that. It could go as low as 78, 77, or as high as 85, but that's the realm I usually like, because I get bored by movies. They always seem to be a little too long.
Right.
A lot of the time. Much like me talking the last 5 minutes. If I could go back and edit me talking, I would take out, like this part, me criticizing myself, I'd take that if it's too late.
That's the best part of the show. Come on.
I was going to say, we pride ourselves on never editing anything, so anything that's in there, it's there. It's like almost live. It's just, we just do it. That's what it is. So it's just how we roll. It's,
cool.
It's our nature.
Yeah. And then wait a minute. Then I started your other question, but I went back to that other one. And what was it? What were you, Craig? Are you taking copious notes?
Yeah.
What was it, Craig?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Fast. Okay. Now I got to sit here and think
about the mileage or the. I don't remember.
Show people. God damn it all. Craig, you're not helping here, man.
It'll
not
return.
Very helpful today. I'm really out of it today for some reason.
I understand. Yeah,
I am too, dude.
As soon as I hit record,
I've been sluggish all day. I live here with my in the wintertime. People ask me how much money I make doing these things, and I tell them, just enough to still live with my 83-year-old parents in the wintertime. So it's a gold mine, a bonanza. of cash.
Yes. You're living the dreams of most people.
I am. They're great. I mean, I get along great with my folks. So
That's good.
it's at that time I'm actually feel like I'm actually doing good being here, helping them with stuff instead of just eating their food and yelling a lot.
Would you turn down the Golden Girls? I'm tired of hearing this.
Oh my God! I was watching King. You've ever seen King of Comedy? Scorsese's The King of Comedy with De Niro. You got to watch that.
And that Jerry Lewis
Rupert. It's with he plays his character Rupert Pupkin, who's just is this huge dweeb, and he wants to be a comic.
And he holds somebody up, right? Isn't there like a hostage thing?
Well, no, he kidnaps Jerry Lewis, who's kind of like a Johnny Carson character, and he forces him to listen to put him on the show. It's that's my anyway. He's practicing in the part of the film I was watching last night. He's practicing in the basement, and his mom goes, "What are you doing down there? What are you talking to? Shut up, Mom! I'm working. It's just very sad but funny, just like my life.
I just said that's early.
My mom yelling right there now.
Really early, well, minus the mother, but usually I get that from my family. What are you doing? What? That's what. I'm not bothering you. Leave me be.
Yeah. Where are you, Dennis? Is that a basement you're in?
Yes. My family stays upstairs, and I come down here and
with the gnome. Do you walk down with the gnome when you go down there?
Yeah. Well, he judges me a lot. That's why he just. There's like on the other side of my computer here is I also teach martial arts, and sometimes I have students down here that I teach. So,
okay. Cool.
So yeah, that's so yeah. So yeah, I hide down in my basement like a gnome.
Yeah, like a gnome.
Like a gnome. So I hang down here. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, this is the computer room I'm in right now. So when I'm editing my films during the winter, my dad will be like right over here, like 4 feet away in his computer, playing Angry Birds like 7 hours a day.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's like really good. I mean, he's got to be the best or top 5 octogenarian Angry Bird players in the entire world. He's gotten every level, the top. It's a very exciting life.
Well, when you hit the age, you should be allowed to do whatever the hell you want, anyways. Like whatever, I don't care. I hope to reach that when I hit that age too, but I don't care. I really don't care what you have to say. I've been here long enough. Be quiet.
There you go. Just enjoy it while you have it.
So, when you're traveling all this stuff, what are some of the? I mean, I know obviously. Let's kind of shift over. So as you're walking, you have evidently met, or not met, at least seen some interesting things. Shall we say?
Oh yeah. I remember what I was going to say. By the way, your question. Hey, can I?
Thanks, Carl.
When I had the air on before, was it loud? Really loud, or could I? It's just boiling in here right now.
Yeah, go ahead, throw it on.
Can I just see what? Let me know if it's too much, and I'll. Is it horrible? Can you hear it?
I can hear it, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's not terrible. We'll survive. We're not like we're only third string podcast. It's okay. We're not like some famous people. We're cool.
Actually, it's that what you were just talking about. Running into people and animals and weird stuff out on the trail. Yeah, that's part of it when you're having a day when you're bored. Because I'm one of those people. I know people who apparently can just walk 25 miles a day and apparently never get bored. I am not one of those people. If I'm in a particular ecosystem and I'm walking for 20 minutes to a half hour, it's beautiful, but it doesn't really change a lot, I get bored. Your thoughts start spinning in your head. You're not getting any input, really enough input. But the thing that helps keep you going is knowing that, or remembering that at any moment I could meet the most interesting man in the world, or just some crazy person out there who's just great on camera, or see, a raccoon riding a bear. That's still a dream of mine. Hope it can happen. Little hat on.
The most amazing thing ever.
Yeah, that would be cool.
All I see is just kind of, yeah. I want that now.
I can't get the camera out quick enough, of course. It's like, and then of course, because I'm into the Bigfoot stuff, always kind of, even though E.T., I'm not all that sold that there are Sasquatch-like creatures out there. I'm not sold on that. I know some people believe, I'm definitely sold on the Pacific Northwest. That there's some stuff out there, but there was a lady who hiked a few years ago. I just talked to her again, and she's hiking the PCT this year, and she was at the kickoff. And I forgot about the story she told me, and she's doesn't come off like a crackpot, very down to earth, and she was somewhere, oh gosh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, believe it or not, has actually had a history of sightings. I mean, like, more than you would think.
Yeah.
And she's hiking at night, and she's hiking with someone else, and they're walking, and all of a sudden they just said, and the other person was right behind her, and just up the trail, I mean, like what, 25, 30 feet, this thing just like was walking, and this, without even stopping, just went off the trail. It was on two legs, and it was, I think she said it was darkish colored, but it was so calm, it didn't freak them out. It just didn't even, it just kind of, and they're, did you see that? Like, why did it, that's a human, and they were just like, that wasn't a human, it was like too big or something, so they, even though it was so quick, they was sure it was upright and on two legs, that she thought it could very well be one of these things that are alleged to be real. So that's pretty trippy. She goes, it was like one of those things when it happened, it wasn't that scary. They're like, oh, well, what? And then, but as they thought about it more and more, it was like, what the hell, man? The fact that it just so calmly just went off into the forest like that. So I don't mean to scare your listeners, but
Hank will survive.
It's the price you pay for being entertained.
Hank hangs out with gators. We're cool.
What's that? Yeah, where are you guys, by the way? I have no idea where you guys are.
We're in northwest Indiana, just outside Chicago.
Yeah. Him and I are both. He's about 15 miles north of me. I'm out in the country. So.
Yeah. Did you guys go to high school together? Grew up together?
No. How the hell did we meet, Craig?
I think going to parties and stuff like that. Just
I think so. We met. We had mutual friends who played in bands. I think is what it was. So we all kind of hanging out, and then we both went, "Hey, you're a nerd. I'm a nerd too. Awesome. Let's hang out together."
Yeah.
Cool.
You like Doctor Who? I like Doctor Who. That's great.
So Craig, how did you ever see me when I was on Tech TV?
That I missed out on.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah. The way I found your stuff was the 2 episodes you did of Infected with Martin Sargent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Martin.
Bigfoot episode and the
when I told my crapping my pants story.
Yeah.
I crapped my pants on the freeway.
Right.
I'm not. I got to eat dinner here shortly, so probably.
Yes.
But yeah, that was thankfully, I haven't repeated that. That was, what was it, 15 years ago? I thought that was supposed to happen as you get older, that you actually shit your pants more. But this was just an unbelievable. I don't know what. And I didn't feel bad. I mean, not emotionally, but physically. Oh my God! It's just something I had eaten had to get out quickly, and it did while I was driving 70 miles an hour on the 405 freeway.
I'm surprised you're going that fast
enjoy
on
your
the 405.
breakfast, everyone.
I've heard the 405 kind of sucks. I'm surprised you're actually hitting 70.
Yeah, no, it was like right near LAX, and it was like, whoa. And it was like, I look at the back, and all I had in the car was, luckily I had a beach towel. So I put a beach towel under my Gap khakis and just let her go. Man, it was like literally like someone took one of those, when they're making a sidewalk, the chute where all the wet cement, it was like someone took one of those and just put that down the back of my pants.
Oh, geez.
And it was just, I mean,
Wow.
like a minute and a half of just raw sewage, all going down the back of my thighs, down to my knee, down to my sock. I go, what in the smell? Now I'm going to barf. And I'm worried I'm going to get pulled over for speeding and probably violating 3 or 4 environmental codes. But yeah, well, I bet your listeners didn't expect to hear that story.
No, probably not.
I got a story like that too, but we're just, I've had stories like that.
But the family listens. Yeah, I'm not one to hold back when it comes to Bible.
My family doesn't listen.
Yeah.
Guys. They just accept it. That's how.
What? Oh, I missed that. What was that?
I said, my family doesn't listen to this. They just accept me for who I am and just how weird I am.
Good. That's good.
With this new trip, what is your biggest goal for it besides completing it? Is it like catching something, maybe catching a troll, or maybe I don't know,
that would be awesome.
Getting to the very north end, catching like the Aurora Borealis? I mean, what are you accepting? What's
hold on, I'm gonna put this phone in the drawer. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. Actually, when I do these films, the number one goal is actually to complete the ring road and to do this trip across. But just within that, just hopefully to be, attentive at all times, having fun. And it is work too. That's the thing. It's not all fun and games, but it's just try to have as much fun with your work. That is just keeping your eyes open. I just hope I see a lot of cool shit in Iceland, man, which from what I've heard will probably be the case. And hopefully meet some really cool people, and that they want to be on camera and there's some cool stories. And I just like to kind of go with the flow. I don't like, because then to me it kind of starts, you don't want it to get scripty, and then it's not a documentary. And it's just documenting what happened to me while I did these things. And I'm pretty gregarious, so I mean, my mom always said I never met a stranger. And I think that's true. I mean, I can interview anybody if they want to be interviewed. I mean, that's the thing. You got to want to be interviewed. That's nothing worse than somebody who you can tell, they'll say, oh, okay. But then if they're reluctant,
do you just kind of walk up to people and say, hey, do you want to be interviewed? Or do you just like, hey, I'm doing this thing?
I usually hit them. I just kind of wait. I pass them and then I turn around quickly and bonk them in the head, tie them up. And then when they wake up, they don't have much choice. No, usually, you know what I do? You meet somebody, and especially on these trails, if somebody's going in the opposite direction, they usually stop and say hi most of the time. And then you just kind of, as you're talking to them, you just, from your own experience, figure, would this person be a good interview? Are they interesting? Are they quirky? Are they smart? Or aren't they? And again, it's just a judgment call. And then you ask them. But you never like walk up rolling tape or anything like that. That's just rude. So it's just get to know them. And then I usually like ask them like, though it will be different in Iceland because it's not a trail per se that I'm on, but like I'll ask people, what's the strangest thing that's happened to you on the trail this year, or bits of advice. That's something I usually ask people. If somebody's watching this, what bits of advice would you give to anybody thinking about doing the Appalachian Trail or the Pacific Crest Trail? And then just go with the flow. And if they seem interesting in it, just keep taping. Then go home in the winter and sort through all that and try to find those moments that were kind of hopefully insightful or funny or inspiring. Put them in the film, damn it.
Right. Have you, on that same note, since you said you kind of just stop and talk to people, do you find, because as you're walking along with those long periods of solitude, that we are, as a species, we are very social creatures. So if we see another person where we've spent days with no one to talk to, that we will just stop. You'll just stop and go, hi, oh my God, someone actually say something to somebody.
People talk about that a lot. Well, it's always just this going and coming out there, Kind of an irony that almost if you see any film about the PCT, they end up talking about is this. It starts as this individual venture. I'm going to go out and brave the wilds. And then what you do is usually you end up bonding with all these people, which is great. It's just kind of a conceptual surprise. You have this one idea what you think the hike is, and then it turns out to be something else. It's actually probably both. You do have those times, especially on the PCT. You've got a good blend of solitude time. I mean, if you want to hike alone on the PCT, you can do that. AT, it's harder because it's just more people, and with the shelters and everything. But it's all what you're looking for out there. Solitude, meeting new friends, dancing naked with bears, whatever floats your boat.
Awesome. I like that idea.
Excuse me.
I do do a luchador mask. I could definitely try out when I was out there. I will take on a bear with a spatula. No doubt about it. Naked.
Good.
Just show my manliness.
There, yeah. Just, yeah. God, you just reminded me. There was a guy when I ran into a guy once whose backpack weighed. He said it weighed, and it looked like it weighed about 110 pounds, and it was like 3 feet above his head. And he literally had an iron. What is it? A skillet.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Cast iron skillet. He was a big guy, but it was like, God, dude. He says, I do this every year. I go back to this lake and I stay there for a week. So yeah, if you're not going to bring a mule or a horse, I guess that's the way to do it. But
very large guy. Come on.
Yeah. That's all. Everybody. I have friends who have heavy packs and they do fine, and I'm kind of, I like to try to go as light as possible because I just don't. I notice it helps me do more miles, and you learn that quick too. You'll think you'll need other stuff, and then within the first week or 2 weeks, you go. You should ask yourself, if I ever use this thing once, whatever this is, if I use my Carmex, and a Carmex you should always have. I don't own stock in Carmex, but you should always have it. But you'll learn quickly what you need and don't need, and then other hiker will give you what's called a shakedown. They'll shake down your pack for you. They do that at the. They actually have a booth, the Wolverines, they call themselves. This group of hikers who have volunteered to help other hikers shake their packs down. And a lot of times they'll easily get 3 pounds out of there that they just say you really don't, and they've convinced them they don't need it.
So your pack, so like you're saying, so usually if you're going to go, your pack's going to be more of an individualistic idea. It's like, so like I might be carrying things where you're like, I'd never use that, but evidently you've been using it every goddamn day. That kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that last part.
The idea that. Like you said, being very minimalistic on it, like you like going minimalistic where this other guy has like 110 pounds. But the idea that no matter who's hiking, everyone's idea of a pack is always going to be a tad different. You'll have some bare essentials, like yes, you'll have a tent or something, or at least a tarp to throw on the ground.
Yeah.
But some might have like you said, like a big ass metal skillet, where another guy might have like a foldable little tin can type thing.
Yeah, like some people would call that your luxury item. Some people say that is this something you like for comfort or entertainment? Most people have that too. And then you'll just notice generally those folks though who are doing the 25. Most people, not all. I have a friend of mine, Jester, who's a filmmaker as well. He's on the AT this year. He's making a film. He's a big pack guy. He's like packed probably at least 40 pounds, 45 pounds. But he can do 25 miles a day on the AT. I think he already has.
Wow.
So, it's all what I like that challenge of trying to get your weight down. Just like what can I do out here? Because it's so much just in life in general, in society, we always have tend to have too much crap anyway. It just weighs us down. There's this old saying, the more you have, the more time it takes to maintain it.
Yeah.
So,
I have a friend who likes to go camping with nothing more than a fanny pack, and I'm impressed that he can pull it off.
Wow. Have they found his body yet?
No. He'll go for a couple days. He'll have a fanny pack. It'll be packed. He'll have a tarp, some line, fishing line, hooks, and a little bit of like a can opener, a can of beans, and like dough. And granted, the way he fishes is probably illegal. So, but he still gets to get minnows and stuff, and he'll I'm like, that's just impressive. It's just bang, bang, bang. It's like I got it all in a fanny pack. I'm solid to go. I'm like, that's pretty impressive.
There is a guy named Warner Springs Monty who in 07 he had this goal, and I guess he did it. He wanted to hike the PCT with a base weight. That means you're minus food and water. He wanted to do it less than 5 pounds, and he did it. He had this like little sil nylon, like a book sack, like if you're in high school, and he just put his basics, just tarp, whatever, probably the toothbrush with the handle cut off, all those things. And as Monty says, the fun goes up when the weight goes down.
Wow.
So, yeah, he patented that, I think. So, guys, hey, I have to go here pretty soon. Is that cool? I'm not going to leave you hanging here. Is the gnome going to get on?
That was,
Here, you going to talk to him?
No, Travis is trapped.
Oh, oh, okay.
He had a car accident this week, and he was hoping to get his car back today, and evidently he's still trapped getting his car back. So he's stuck dealing with people. So,
Okay.
so he got to miss a really fun time. Every time we seem to have a really good show, he's not here. I'm starting to wonder why.
Yeah, maybe it's time to replace him. No.
Yeah.
No, but thanks for having me on the show, and Craig, thanks again for backing the Icelandic adventure. And again, it's still up for another, I think, 12 days at Kickstarter. Yeah. It's called what is my name? Squatch's Hiking and Biking Icelandic Adventure! Exclamation point. Very creative, I know. So, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for coming on.
And if you'd like to come back after your hike, so you can tell us about all your fun adventures and fighting a troll off with you got yourself a skillet and bought a troll.
A dead fairy. Yeah, dead fairy. That's what. Apparently, I read this in a couple places that it's the most literate country in the world. Right, 99% of the people can read and write well, and but 70% of the population believes in fairies. Like there's something to it. It's an odd thing. Maybe there is, man. Maybe it'll be some kind of big X-Files episode out there for me. Just hopefully it comes out on tape.
Just so you know, I'm a big fantasy person. Everything I've ever read about fairies is they all hate iron, so do bring a cast iron skillet with you.
They do what?
Bring a cast iron skillet with you.
Oh, okay, good.
Just in case, because fairies don't like iron.
Cast iron skillet.
Because that'll be fun to drag
fairies.
Just in case.
Okay.
You never know.
All right. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Scott, thanks for joining us. And,
all right.
We will talk to you, man.
And I'll see you next time. Wish me luck.
All right, man. Good luck.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yo, my name's Sad, and I don't give a fuck.